Hi, welcome to Ike's Vintage Tech. Today I am reassembling the completely torn down and cleaned Gateway E-3200 that I took apart in a previous video. Before it was disgusting. It was completely just caked full of garbage, incense and whatnot. That's disgusting. I'll clean that up later. I have since took it to the tub. I washed everything, including the power supply. What? Am I crazy? Yeah, but it was either this or throw it out. So I gave it a full wash, completely afterwards, doused it with distilled water, alcohol bath, all that stuff, and then baked it in the oven for about 45 minutes, I believe, for the logic board and whatnot. I did a full 2 hours on the power supply just because I wanted to make sure everything was good. It looks nice. I did get an upgraded video card off of eBay for like $14. So with the specialty adapter and whatnot. Everything is clean. I didn't bother cleaning the CD-ROM or floppy drive. They were too far gone. It's just cheap enough still to get those without having to, spend hours of my time meticulously detailing them. Now, the plastic is still yellowed. I'm not doing a retro bright on this. I might in the future, but it's not in my plans today. So the one thing I do got to fix, though, and I'm going to take a quick video of, is this RAM slot right here has a broken ear on it. Somehow they still exist. I was able to order a brand new one made by Foxconn, the exact same one that's on this board here. And I'm going to desolder the old one, throw this new one on. Now, I could try to pop this plastic out and just scavenge it off the new one, but I think that'll just snap and break in the process. So I'm just gonna, it's so much easier just to desolder it, throw a new one together, and yeah, bada bing, bada boom. You got yourself a working computer. Hopefully. There is always the possibility of screwing this up. Okay, welcome back. New shirt, different day. Took a very long time to desolder that. It is what it is. I don't have the right tool. I need a actual Hakko desoldering iron. Would have been much quicker than the way I did it. The downside is the DIMM slot that I purchased was off by just a little bit. It's still a 168 pin SD-RAM slot. The keying is off by like a millimeter, which is really upsetting. So until I get the right one, we're going to be limited to 2 RAM sticks here. So it's not a huge deal. It's still 512 mega RAM. Sucks because a lot of work went into getting the original stick off of there, including breaking it up in order to desolder all the pinouts. And then I used kind of a silly method. I didn't get it on video, unfortunately, but I used a shop vac on the back side, and I heated each individual pinhole, and I just sucked the solder right out of it. I wouldn't say it's the best method, but it's a method. If this don't work when it's all back together, I'll know why, because I did something weird. Still not the end of the world. Just going to go ahead and get this all back together. Now for the fun part, remembering how exactly these went in. Just going to set that down there for now. I did add a new Noctua fan. I had to solder that basically into the wiring harness here. Pretty straightforward. On the power supply, I also put in a new fan, just a little splice on the wires there. I salvaged it from like a server grade power supply, so it might be a little loud. It's definitely better than this nasty cruddy thing right here. So that'll be much better. Get the case back together proper, and then I can go from there. trying to remember where everything went is a slight problem. That all seems to line up. That seemed to pop in place rather easy. It was a little harder to get off when I was taking it apart to clean. But that's back on. That's not too terrible. And I'm pretty sure the power supply went in first. So I just have to reassemble that. And if you are going to work on your own power supply, if you're going to wash it like I did, be very careful. Don't just go about putting stuff in the sink without knowing the repercussions of your actions. Also, it is very wise to discharge all your capacitors before you do anything such as handling a power supply. There we go. There's two little dog ears on this power supply that bend over the edge of the PCB for the power supply. Just want to make sure that none of these wires are going to get pinched. Everything is going back where it belongs. All right. This is one of those instances where I wish I took better pictures to verify where stuff went as far as the different overlaps on the sheet metal here. Now for the fun part, getting everything back in its place. I just remembered there was this piece right here. This piece goes on the power supply, and it connects the power supply here to the logic, or the, not logic board, is a PC, the daughter board of the motherboard. Once again, wish I took some more pictures. I probably do have some pictures if I dig through my phone, but I want to just figure this out before I forget everything. There's a lot of plastic clips that went into this thing too. I have to make sure everything goes back in. All right, double check that. That would really suck if I had to take those out again. Okay, so those line up. That's a good sign. I do forget where these go. Aha, here they go. They go on here. There we go. Everything's coming together. This is the problem when you do this, like days and days later. It's about a week and a half later, honestly, because I got this all apart, washed it up, got the flu, and then didn't feel like doing jack squat. Let's put you in. I can finally finish you. So it looks like I got 2 screws for the power supply back here. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to add a little bit of deoxit to the connectors here because I want this to be the last time I take it apart. Until, of course, I actually get a replacement RAM socket, if I can ever find one. It's not the end of the world. Now I just got to figure out how this thing attaches. Is it on here? I forget. It's been a minute. Yes. That's a tighter fit than I'd care for, but it's on there. Now, one of the odd things about this is it says Dell on here, so wherever my brother may have gotten this from back in the day, it probably came out of a Dell. I did upgrade the CPU. This is a 750 Pentium 3. Should work up to whatever highest slot 1 at 100 megahertz front speed bus you can find. There's a bunch on eBay for like $70 after shipping for 850s. I just happen to have a 750 without having to spend extra money. I am going to have to change out the little holders because they don't quite fit as perfect as they used to. Not a huge deal. I'm not shipping this thing anywhere. Like I said earlier, I ordered this one on eBay, $14 shipped for a brand new, literally brand new, never used, not a mark on the thing. 16 meg ATI Rage 128. The original one I had was a 4 meg. I don't want to be limited by that much RAM on my graphics. Not that this thing's a gaming powerhouse, but I want to have some oomph. All right. This should just clip right on the inside. It is nice how nearly everything is toolless. I am missing a screw, which I just got to dig around. I've got 1,000 screws right over there, right off camera. Have a couple extra fan screws because I used existing screws that I already had for the new fan. I'm not going to install a zip drive or anything like that for now, so that can just clip right back on. My extra RAM slot. So disappointed in that. It's so ridiculously how, like, this says DRAM on fine print and the originals say UDRAM. So thought I had the right thing. Really sucks because I don't know, I couldn't believe I could find that, so I don't know where I'm going to find the right one now that I need. But as any electronics hoarder, I'm just going to hold on to this because I will need it one day. Oh no. Okay, that fits. Just had to squeeze a little bit. There we go. Good as new. Okay, I'm back. Got a new hard drive that I needed because I forgot a hard drive. Nice brand new copy of Windows 2000 Pro. That'll go on there, and a couple screws that I needed. Okay, so the CD-ROM drive works, the little ribbon cable there. This ribbon cable I have has a pin out missing as well, a block out pin, so that isn't going to work. I have to grab another cable. Luckily I have a bunch. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. The cable that came in this is actually missing, or still got the same punch out, or the the blocked out cable pin, or the pin on the cable. This one, however, has a small hole drilled in it because apparently that was a problem at one point that was solved by just drilling holes. Hard drive is going to have to go in without its cage, just the way it is right now. That can get scrunched down there. Fits quite nice. Look at that. It's coming together quite nice. Now, oh, almost forgot the front panel connector. Kind of need that. Okay, I'm going to seal it up, which is typically bad juju, but this thing is so easy to open, I'm not too concerned. Okay, I'm going to grab a monitor. I'll be right back. Okay, got keyboard, mouse, monitor, and restore discs, but most importantly, this. With this little doodad right here, this case goes from desktop to mini tower. Very nice. Okay, so power's right on. So that's good, but let's get everything else plugged in before I just go with that. Most importantly, before I forget, little cow box. Okay, here we go, moment of truth. Plug it in for the first time. No keyboard activity yet. Okay, I'm going to pull the CPU out, put the 550 back in. That might be the max for this motherboard. We'll find out. There it is. Okay, so after plenty of tinkering, the little back end of the daughter board is like a power connector slot, and it was just like the whole case looks like it might have dropped, and that's why this thing doesn't want to turn on when it's completely together. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I got to modify to make that work, but I've got a screen now. Let's put this back together. Okay, just gonna leave it down for now. Let's see if that 750 megahertz CPU works. I've got my fingers crossed there. There we go, it's reading 750. It's gonna read all the RAM slowly. So 512 mega RAM, that works at least. And it seems to have locked up. And it is locked up again. I'm running out of time checking it tonight. I'm going to have to put this on hold and finish it tomorrow. See you then. New shirt. Okay, welcome back. Quick jump cut from the last scene when it was locking up. It turns out that was improper IDE cable or something to that effect. Basically, I swapped out IDE cables and then everything started working. So I might have had a bad cable. Whatever the case, it's working now. Let's give it a quick turn on. And let's see here. Got green light on the monitor. That's a good sign. So I did go ahead. I finished the Windows 2000 install. Did the driver updates I needed to do. Had to get the network card working. That wasn't automatically installed. I threw in a gigabit Ethernet just because that's what I had available. When I went to install the drivers, it turned out the onboard was also a 3-COM card, so they both just installed. So now it's got 2 NICs in it. Not a big deal. Those things are pretty cheap and nice to have. Here we go. It's booting into Windows 2000. I went ahead and installed Sirius Sam. I was getting decent frame rates, usable frame rates, when I ran the benchmark on it. Depending on your resolution that you choose. If you choose a very high resolution, it's going to slow down. It's still playable for, a 25-year-old game, but or 20, 23-year-old, whatever. It's over 20 years old. It's in the vintage window there. This is booting up. I did use a zip drive. I got this external zip drive, and it is great for anything running Windows 2000 or newer. Just auto detects. You don't have to install any drivers, and you don't have to burn a disk every time you need like a like I needed the graphics driver. The AGP card was not installed directly. It wouldn't install through Windows Update, so I went ahead and downloaded it. It was like a 10 meg file. I obviously can't put that in a floppy disk, and you don't want to burn a whole CD for one 10 meg file. That's where the zip drive is key for that. So we got this working. I installed Legacy Update. If you go to legacyupdate.net, that is a really good tool for these older machines, just to get them as up to date as you can. Now, one thing to note, you can't download Service Pack 4 from Legacy Update. It attempts to install a partial installer, which is like 1 or 2 meg file that then downloads from Microsoft. Obviously, that link today is dead. You can find the offline installer for Service Pack 4. I didn't do that on this just because I just wanted to get it working. It's not super important. I'm going to probably end up putting a SATA SSD in this eventually with I'm going to get like a small PCI card SATA controller. That way I'm not throwing 98 on this. It'll work perfectly fine in Windows 2000 or newer with the cards that are readily available on Amazon for like $20. You can find the older cards that are Windows 98 compatible for SATA, but they are very expensive and unnecessary if you're not planning to put 98 on a machine like this. You can, but I just prefer Windows 2000 or XP for this particular vintage machine. Just because it's better compatibility with pretty much everything that you'd be running on it for this era anyways. It's a little too new for the old DOS machines, Windows 95. It was built in 99 through like 2002 until Gateway dropped the line. So with the 750 megahertz Pentium 3 in there, I could probably put the 850 in there as well. It's just what I have. I don't want to have to put a lot of money into a machine like this. Considering you can get them used on eBay for about $150 shipped, you don't really want to. You don't need to put a lot of money into something like this unless it's your only machine and you're space conscious. You want something upright. That might be your aisle or your route that you want to go there. I have a lot of machines in my inventory, and I'm not going high end on every single machine I have, or I'd be out of money and I'd be hearing it from the wife that I'm spending too much on a hobby. So we're not doing that. But I'm going to run Sirius Sam real quick here. I got the disc in the drive already. It will, as long as you have a newer CD-ROM that's got the little tabs on it on the inside, it'll run sideways like that just fine. If you have an old CD-ROM that you found and it doesn't have those little retaining tabs, don't put the disc upright like this. You want to have it level to your desk, parallel to your desk. But if it's got the tabs, it'll run just fine. Now, I don't have any speakers hooked up to this, just because I didn't feel like pulling them out. But as you can see, it's running Serious Sam, which was a decently graphical intense game for the time. If I dig into my CD collection, I could probably find Half-Life. Don't need to show you every game this thing can play. I remember when this game came out, brand new, and it was amazing graphics just because the visual effects they used, the light reflecting from the sun, you got the sun flare you're about to see. That was something that was like, coming from the days of Duke Nukem and Wolfenstein. Only a couple years later, this came out, and it was just amazing quality. And it was a cool game. It was just adrenaline run shooter game. Like, look at this. This is very playable game for the time. And it was fun. It runs great. You can go into the options here. Change video, change audio. Right now I got on 1024 by 768, which is perfectly fine for this smaller monitor. If I had a better GPU in this thing, which is a little difficult unless you go PCI, the AGP card is such a proprietary fit for this form factor. It would be very hard to find a better card. 16 meg AGP Rage 128 is the one that is in there right now. It's perfectly fine. The old one that was in there was only 4 meg. This is 16 meg. Not a huge difference in today's standard, but back then that was a decent upgrade. Especially when they were counting in megabit back then and not gigabit like they do now. Gigabyte, gigabit, whatever. You know what I meant. But yeah, this game ran perfectly fine on this when I did the little benchmark self-test. It was getting good frame rate of about 30 frames per second. It would dip down to like 20 or 19 when there's a ton of enemies. But still completely playable for this type of machine and the older game like that. This thing is online. Let's go to the oldnet.com. He is currently having trouble where too many people are accessing his website, and it's just banging out the API for the Internet Archive, and they're limiting his traffic. So that is something that a lot of us have gotten into the old computers, and we go to his website and just kind of abuse it. Unfortunately, until he comes up with a fix, it's kind of slow. Depending on when you're trying to access it, it might not work. Another good one is FrogFind. That is a fellow YouTuber. Sean runs this. Action Retro, if you look up his channel, he's got a lot of great content. But he created this, and it's just an amazing website for these older machines. You can just search, anything like Gateway E-3200. Let's check that out. And here you go. You got old manuals, stuff like that. It's no graphics or anything, but it's a lot of text, and it's great. There's also 68knews.com is another one. Or no, 68k.news. Nope. That's another website of his. It's for the older Macs, but it works on any old PC that just doesn't play nice with the new internet. Like if I try to go to YouTube right now, you're accessing a secure site, and then you get this because it doesn't have the up-to-date encryption keys for HTTPS. It's just not going to work. You can download some browsers that'll kind of work. You're still limited, but you're not using this thing to browse the internet and watch YouTube. it's too old. You want to use it for older games. You want to have it on your network if you're going to do a LAN party. Anything like that is perfectly fine. But this machine right now, with Windows 2000 installed, works great. Let me show you Legacy Update. But yeah, this basically re-enables Windows Update for these older vintage machines. It works on Windows 2000 or newer. If you've got Windows 98, 95, ME, anything like that, there are other options out there. I don't know them off the top of my head. I can always link those below as well. But here you go. Here's some basic updates. You can do DirectX 9, Media Player. The Service Pack 4 I told you about, that will not run on this. It'll attempt to run, but you have to get the offline installer. Otherwise, this machine is running like new, very yellowed, but like new. It can run pretty much any game you want to throw at it from 99 to 2003, I'd say, with, I'm sure, limitations on some of those newer games. You're going to really be bottlenecked with the 16 meg AGP video card there, but perfectly fine for some of the older games you want to play. Like I said, it takes up very little space. When you're done with it, you can throw it on a shelf. It's very small compared to a full-size computer case of the time. And it works great if you need a Pentium 3 system. They're fairly inexpensive, not too hard to work on. I put new fans in this thing. I'm sitting behind it here and I can definitely hear it, but it's definitely a lot quieter than it was. The old fan, like I said, I don't even have it over the keyboard. It is disgusting, the stuff I pulled out of this. I washed the whole thing. I'll post some pictures of that in the video here. I did a little bit of before and after shots just to see how bad it was. Even the power supply I washed. I've never washed a power supply, but I did know to discharge the caps before doing anything like that. And I also didn't submerge the wiring harness because I'm sure the wires can wick up liquid or the water into the wire, and you don't want that sitting there corroding. So I only submerged the main PCB, the caps, all that self-contained stuff, washed it, used, Dawn dish soap. I inspected the caps while I was in there. I didn't see anything leaking. I didn't see any residue aside from all the disgusting incense that burned next to this thing for all the years it was on my mom's desk. I've seen worse computers. Smokers' computers are the absolute worst if they also have cockroaches. When I worked at Gateway, I've seen everything. And roaches in computers is pretty disgusting. I wouldn't clean those today unless it was super rare, super vintage, and I needed a particular part. I would just throw that out because that skeeves me out. That's the line I won't cross, is roaches. But smokers' computers are pretty disgusting. The incense that burned in this was really disgusting. And, you're not smoking this stuff like you would cigarettes, but I'm sure it can't be healthy for you either. If that's what it does to the inside of your computer, and the rest of your house, I'm sure, is just as bad. But yeah, this thing is working great. I've had it running for a couple days now, just letting it burn in, making sure that everything works. Like I said, the only thing that didn't work in this whole rebuild of mine is that third RAM slot. That's going to be very tough to find. The motherboard replacement costs more than the actual computer. I can buy another one of these computers cheaper than somebody selling the motherboard on eBay for. It's not worth that extra 256 meg of RAM to me to put that money into this machine. 512 runs the games just fine. If you're OCD and you need to max things out, spend $150 on a new motherboard. But for now, this is perfectly fine for what I need. But yeah, this is the end of the video. I hope you like it. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. Like, subscribe. I'm really trying to start this channel. I'm trying to get as much content recorded within the limited time I have kids, wife, family, all those come first. And on my free time, I get to do this. So I hope you enjoy. As I get better at this, I'm going to get better at editing. I'm going to get better with the lighting. And hopefully this takes off, because I'm not doing it for the money. I don't expect to get rich on YouTube, but I do want to show some of the history of these computers and what knowledge I have of them from the years I've been working on them over the past couple decades. And it's just fun, interesting stuff, and hopefully you like it. I like doing this. It's kind of fun. And yeah, like, subscribe, and keep it rolling. And hopefully I can keep doing this. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for more. Bye.